Hi everyone, my name is Mr. Watson, and today I'm going to be talking to you about a method of analysing a poem. Each step focuses on a different aspect of the poem, and just like the Ninja Turtles, there are 4 of them. So we call it the 4-part method. Step 1 is circles. Here you circle anything to do with language. So you're looking for interesting words and phrases, effective language techniques such as metaphors and similes or personification. And then you think about the effect of these techniques. What does this particular word tell us? Or how does this particular technique make us feel as the reader? Step 2 is patterns. Here you use a squiggly line to identify anything that is repeated. So the repetition of words or phrases, motifs, even the repetition of sounds in the form of alliteration, assonance, or sibilants. Again, consider the effect of these techniques. What's the impact of the repetition of, for example, S sounds? Well, the sibilance creates a hissing sound, which could suggest something being sinister or dangerous, like a snake. Step 3 is phases. This is where you look at the structure of the poem. Think about how it's organized and show the different phases or parts of the poem through a dashed line. What happens from one stanza to the next? How is the beginning of the poem different to the end of the poem? Is it different at all, or is it the same? Does the poem's perspective or tone or time change at any point? Think again about why. Finally, step 4 is the box. Here, you put a box around the line that you think is the most important, the one that really sums up the overall message of the poem. Then, zoom in on this line and look at each word in greater detail, again considering the effect it has on you as a reader. Let me walk you through this process with an actual poem. The poem we'll be using in this example is called The Oak by Alfred Lord Tennyson, and it goes like this. Live thy life, young and old, like yon oak, bright in spring, living gold. Summer rich then, and then autumn changed, soberer hued, gold again. All his leaves fallen at length. Look, he stands, trunk and bough, naked strength. Starting with the language, I'll circle any words or phrases that are interesting to me and that tell us something. We have the contrast of young and old in the first stanza, which suggests this message applies to everybody of any age. Like yon oak is a simile, telling us to live our lives like an oak tree, and this implies that the speaker wants us to live with strength and steadiness. The entire poem seems to be an extended metaphor of living a life of resilience and courage. Now we move on to patterns, so I'll look for any examples of repetition, again considering the effect that they have. We have a regular rhyming pattern as the final words of the second and final line of each stanza rhyme. This consistency could show the consistent strength of an oak tree, further suggesting that we need to adopt this regularity to our own lives too. We also have a semantic field of seasons, with spring, summer and autumn all mentioned throughout. And this adds to the sense that the message here is timeless, that an oak tree can survive whatever is thrown at it throughout the different seasons of the year, and that we can do that as well. Next, we look at phases, so how the poem is organized. We have 3 clear stanzas here, so I'll draw my dashed lines in the spaces between each one. Now, let's briefly summarize what happens in each of the stanzas. The first tells us how to live, and the oak trees are bright in spring. Then in stanza 2, we're told about the changes that happen to the oak tree during the year. And finally, in stanza 3, we're told about the tree losing its leaves in autumn and winter. Yet, it remains strong. So, from this, we can see that the poem as a whole deals with a yearly cycle of an oak tree's life, positively telling us how it deals with changes and remains strong in the most challenging months, which again can be linked to the message of the poem and the way in which the speaker thinks we should live our own lives. Finally, the box. I would put this around the line that I think is the most important, the one that really sums up the poem's message. For me, I'd put a box around the final line, naked strength. This really underlines the big message of the poem, with the adjective naked having connotations of vulnerability, whereas the noun strength conveys a sense of resilience and courage, despite this vulnerability. The message here seems to be that even in moments of fear and vulnerability, moments of potential weakness, there will always be a resilience and a strength within us to help us through the difficult times. Okay, I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a thumbs up to let me know. And why not subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos just like this one. I'll thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.